My aunt legally scammed innocent people out of thousands, so I used her own playbook to flip the script on her. For as long as I can remember, my Aunt Linda's favorite thing in the entire world was the small claims court. Just a few months ago, she sued her niece's wheelchair-bound friend for $400 after the friend's wheelchair rolled onto a patch of her flowers. And the worst part is Linda's a lawyer. She knows how to work the system, and every time she makes one of these ridiculous claims, she wins. She's won over $5,000 by now. The judges at these courts know her, and even they're completely sick of her. What's even more deplorable about Linda is not only does she sue people for nonsense, she goes out of her way to sue people. For example, before I finally did to her what someone should have a long time ago, she used to have cameras pointed at neighbor properties so she could review footage and look out for violations. She would measure where people parked with a tape measure to make sure they weren't too close to curbs. One of these times, she sued her neighbor for having his car parked 3 inches too close to the road, claiming it was a safety hazard for her when she was reversing out onto the road. She won $150. The man was his sick wife's primary caretaker, and the legal fees meant his wife couldn't afford medication that month. But she didn't care. She just wanted her $150. Seeing her walk out victorious made me sick. By this point, I had already planned for a while to find a way to take her down, and then finally, I got my opportunity. But not in the way I expected. You see, she filed against me personally. I had agreed to house sit for her while she was on vacation. She offered me $1,500 for 3 days. Everything was fine until the day she got back. She claimed I had damaged her driveway by parking my car. Yes, by parking my car. She had photos of tire marks and measurements and a whole presentation of how the driveway looked damaged. I couldn't afford to hire my own lawyer, so in court, with her knowing the law, I was forced to pay her $3,000. Walking out, I asked her how she could take $3,000 from her niece who's saving for college. She told me she was just protecting her right. That was the final push I needed. I realized Linda thought she was completely untouchable and that she'd never stop taking advantage of people unless someone made her stop. And so I started studying Linda like she studied everyone else. I followed her routine and documented everything she did. Turns out Linda violated tiny laws constantly. She ran her legal consulting business from home without proper permits. She parked 2 inches over the property line every single day when she got home from work. Her security cameras were angled onto public sidewalks which violated privacy ordinances. She had business signage that exceeded size regulations. I spent weeks building my case just like she always did. I took photos and measurements and kept detailed logs. Then I set the perfect trap. I borrowed her car again and deliberately parked in her driveway. Just like clockwork, she filed another lawsuit against me claiming damage to her precious concrete. But this time I was ready. The day after she filed against me, I walked into the same courthouse and filed 4 separate small claims cases against her. Illegal home business operation, property line violations, privacy violations from her cameras, illegal signage, all legitimate, all documented, all worth exactly what she was suing me for. The beautiful part was watching her face when she got served with my lawsuits. She called me screaming about family loyalty and how I was being ridiculous with these lawsuits. I told her I was just protecting my rights. The court date was incredible. The judge recognized Linda immediately, and you could see him roll his eyes when her name was called. But then my cases got called too, and suddenly Linda was sitting at the defendant's table looking completely panicked. Half the people she'd sued over the years showed up just to watch her squirm. The local newspaper even sent someone because everyone knew about Linda's lawsuit addiction. She tried to drop her case against me, but the judge made it clear that would look like admission of frivolous litigation. She was trapped by her own weapon. The judge ruled in my favor on all 4 cases and ordered her to pay damages plus court costs. She ended up owing me more than twice what she was trying to get from me. 6 months later, Linda barely leaves her house. She's paranoid about every tiny rule and measures everything obsessively on her own property. The local legal community won't refer clients to her anymore, and our family gatherings are actually pleasant now. She's become exactly what she created for everyone else, someone living in constant fear of being sued.